I'm Gerard Morris with Tribe Strategy. We focus on customer success skill development for professionals, new and growing professionals in the space. And Max.
Yeah, and I'm Max from Mindful Negotiating. We try and bring negotiation to different practice areas, and one of them where we're seeing that there's a need and a use case is customer success. And so partnered with Gerard, who is got experience there. So yeah, Gerard, tell us about customer success and negotiation.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've been in customer success now going on 10 years. And, well, when I started, I transitioned from a sales background and being in sales, in technology. There were obviously a lot of negotiation uh, tactics that we were taught in different ways on, how we close the deal and progress the sales cycle. But going into customer success, which kind of focuses on the relationship and then the nuances of that, particularly in the SaaS world, it
Mhm.
requires a different set of muscles. But then I learned that there were a lot of things that were also transferable. So, you know, at a practical scale, you look at customer success as okay, you want to manage renewals, you want to get a customer to expand with your offering, you want to do these different you want to drive these different things, and that's pretty typical across customer success organizations. But just to get to those points, there's also an element of getting the customer from A to B. So for example, getting a customer to get on the phone with you that may be busy with other initiatives. How do you do that? And I think that we forget that there's an element of negotiation. It may be a smaller
Yeah,
back and forth, but there's an element of negotiation when you just want to get the customer to get on the line with you to discuss how they're using your tool and how to do more. Sometimes, obviously, you have your champions that are willing to jump out there and tell you everything that they like and they don't like. But even with those folks, there's a negotiation to say, okay, well, we would like for you to be an advocate or a reference.
yeah,
And then there's a back and forth there to say, well, is it okay to use your logo? And what would the trade off be for us to be able to use your logo in our marketing references? Obviously, at a very practical level, you heard me talk about renewals a little earlier. Just going through the renewal process, like how do we get a customer to continue to we articulate the value and then be able to say, well, there's these other things that are of value to you. You've acknowledged that they could work for you. Let's talk about what that might look like. So
yeah,
beyond just the pricing of the thing, there's also the, hey, do we, how does this fit into your world? And let's talk about
yeah,
what that looks like and making it work. Another example is, for example, an organization may say, hey, you've got some great features, but there's these 2 to 3 features that we would like to see happen. Now there's multiple different conversations going on, because as you go back to the product team, there's a negotiation element that happens there to say, hey, we 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 see that this is a need, and most customer success teams know, in order for you to get leverage with the product team to get something on the roadmap, you need kind of numbers, you need that leverage. And
yeah,
so again, that's, you hear the term leverage and negotiation as well, and then you go back to the customer and you have to negotiate, because let's say it's not going to hit the roadmap by the time they renew their contract. Well, is this going to be an issue that is going to prevent you or be a decision making factor as you renew. So I've hit on a few different examples of where negotiation kind of creeps into the process, but I'll stop there because I know that you're
oh,
you're really
it's
the expert on that side of it here, but I just thinking about it from the engagement standpoint.
yeah, it's beautiful because even without our rehearsing this, you're hitting on major themes in negotiation. First is this, I don't know if we want to say Russian or Ukrainian doll effect of like we have the big negotiations, maybe that's renewal, maybe
Hmm.
that's something longer term in terms of the relationship. But not only will we potentially do we need to invest in that relationship because we'll have further negotiations, we also have negotiations within the negotiation, which is how do I even get you on the phone? Right. Or
Hmm.
like, how do I get the people in the room? And so then we're also hitting on the theme of multi party negotiations. You have multiple parties that maybe you're dealing with, maybe the person you're talking to doesn't have ultimate decision making authority. Great. So even up front, something that we would say in our course is to negotiate how you're going to negotiate or to manage the process up front, which includes asking things like, hey, in terms of the final green light, who do we need for that? Right. So we're introducing the stakeholder map, the idea of understanding the whole organization and not just the person at the other side of the table. So I mean, I think you should hang out with me and Gerard because it's a pleasure in and of itself. But really, what you're getting here is formal negotiation training put into the frameworks that Tribe Strategy and Gerard has in terms of his customer success experience, so that you have a framework to go in with that won't give you all the answers, but that will give you a roadmap for the things to think about, the questions to ask, and
Right.
the processes to go through in order to have customer success.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I would say there are, from a tribe strategy standpoint, the way we approach customer success, there are these different key moments that happen in the day in the life of a customer success professional. And so what we Max and I have talked about is where are the negotiations in each of those different moments, and you'll learn what those different components are. You take advantage of our offering. So
Yeah, come on down.
yeah, yeah. So yeah. Anything else that you wanted to kind of address or speak to here?
I think for a lot of people, this is going to be intuitive. The ways in which general communication, negotiation, listening, curiosity, relationship building are just
Mm-hmm.
applicable throughout business,
Mm-hmm.
throughout our lives. And I think what's helpful and what I'm excited about in terms of our offering is also finding the differences amongst them in those tactics, because I think to some
Mm-hmm.
extent you talk to from sales and you sometimes get the sense that like, yeah, they're from a sales background because of
Mm-hmm.
maybe the way that they're talking, and that's not every salesperson. But kind of to talk about like what are the toolkits and different vocabularies that we use in terms of managing internal stakeholders when we're negotiating with someone else, and also
Absolutely.
developing your own style. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but we're not suggesting that people talk exactly how we talk. We're
No.
simply saying that here are the principles. Put it in your words in terms of your style, your strengths, and also in this offering, we're looking to bring awareness to our own behaviors and in terms of like what your strengths are and what you should keep doing, and also what your growth edges are.
Exactly. And then I would also add, with respect to the fact that depending on the industry, the niche that you're in, the size of your organization, the size of your team, the level of executive sponsorship and hierarchy that you have around customer success, um, your world may be different than the next customer success manager. And I think folks who get into it realize as you network and go to different events and participate in things that it's different depending on where you go, but there are things that there's consistent themes that actually live beyond no matter what your position is, or whether you're dealing with 4 organizations or 40 organizations. There are consistent themes that you should keep in mind that'll help you take it to the next level. Again, if you're already in the space, you've got the foundation, and you could even be a rock star in the space. But there's always little things that you can add to your toolkit
Yeah.
uh, to take it to the next level, and that's what we want to dive into.
Yeah. And just to add, Gerard, it's such a great point. Sometimes people ask, is this for someone just entering the space? Is this for someone who's seasoned? We'd like to think that it's comprehensive enough. I don't naturally come from customer success, so I had to learn this. So it's meant to be, possible for onboarding someone coming into the space, but also
Hmm.
just like Gerard is saying, no one is done developing, no one is done negotiating. So we're hoping that, not hoping, but I think even seasoned professionals can benefit from this course as well, because no one is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the key here is that to keep in mind when you look around at what's available to you, there are some really great programs out there that teach the fundamentals, of customer success and the basics of what you need to learn. And you may even have some great resources within your organization, but the the discipline has matured so much. So,
Mm,
for example, when you look at sales, which has been around forever, and you look at corporate sales and technology sales, even then, we're looking at decades and decades of experience, and kind of books that have been written and in very specific areas, whether that's you think about the challenger sale or how to close or how to prospect or how to it's the same thing in customer success. So, we're getting into a space where you have areas where folks focus only on, hey, how to engage with those customers that are less engaging, meaning they're not responsive, but we need to talk to them
yeah.
to understand where they are. And be able to build that relationship and make sure we're demonstrating value. And in this case, we're speaking to the actual element of marrying negotiation with customer success and where those points hit constantly in the space and really dive deep into all of those. There are other areas where you can strengthen yourself, but in this particular area, this is where we feel that we have an opportunity to help you take your game to the next level.
So come witness that beautiful wedding. And for more information, check out the link.